a little bit of promise. FaZe, we haven't seen a lot of light, if any, out of yet, but the players, like you're saying, we know who they are. They can turn it around at any moment, and this is an important moment for them to turn it around in order to qualify for pool play and give themselves the best chance possible to make Orlando a much better experience for their team and prop themselves up for Worlds later on this year.
And in terms of game types, there's a series layout on your screens. No capture the flag to be seen, which I guess maybe benefits Spacestation. I feel like you want traditional, you want old, you want classic style for FaZe, but there's going to be some new things they're going to have to adjust to. And one of the new maps, of course, Catalyst, is going to feature as game number 2. Where's your heart heading? Actually, no, screw your heart. Where is your head heading? Because I know that's what's more important.
Yeah, my head says Spacestation, but I love the FaZe individuals, right? And my heart is all with FaZe on this one. I want to FaZe up at the end of the day. I want them to at least make pool play. I don't worry about Spacestation not being in pool play because, like you said, they've shown me that they go through open bracket. We'll see them in pool play more than likely through a qualifier. I have no doubt that FaZe would take that same road. But for FaZe to start building confidence to become one of our powerhouses here in Halo, I feel like this is one of the series that could define this team for the long term.
It has to happen here. It really does. Otherwise, I worry for the future of this team. That being said, we've been in a similar position before back in Anaheim when FaZe did end up finishing top 8. We were saying, look, bare minimum, we need to see them finishing top 8. They achieved that. They then went on and they finished top 6 at Kansas, and they were making progression, but then of course now team changes come through. It's almost like a repeat situation. FaZe have to get top 8, and then they can look to improve on that when they get to Orlando. If, however, they were to go down in this series and be knocked out in top 12, there would be a lot of questions asked. Investigations on who is not performing. Would there be team changes at that point? You'd have to imagine not, considering the amount of money they must have spent to get this roster. FaZe need to phase up, as you say.
You got to turn the ship around, and what a moment here to do so. And Spacestation, they're not going to let that one go so easy, right? These individuals on both sides, so talented. We have a ton of experience here as well. Hopping on board with the king of experience is Snipe down as he does find the kill, and that's something great to start off with. At least he does get traded, but a kill for Snipe down could bode well for his confidence.
If FaZe can start to click, then they do have the players that can pop off, that individually are some of the best players in the world, let alone in the region.
Yeah.
On the other side though, Spacestation, we saw them against Optic Gaming earlier today. They did look good. They were having so many positives in their games. If they can take just an inch of that into this game, there is no reason why they can't be winning as well.
You got to take down Kuhlect. Currently has the camo, finds himself a nice back smack on the Renegade. Good positioning means 3 dead for FaZe. This camo being used to create a separating difference so far in the scoreline as a setup now for Spacestation in pipes.
Here come the nades. Gotta just make sure you use those walls to your advantage, but early on, at least there is points being scored for both teams. Nice. And Spartan just walks straight into a shock rifle. KotH now just getting easy pickings in terms of where he wants to look. He's got so much space thanks to the rest of his team, but as I say that, the rest of the team is going to join him here at top gold.
Maybe not that much space for Spacestation, but they do have a lead here. And with a couple of shock rifle kills, it would be massive. Unfortunately, he can't quite find the headshot. Good damage, though, especially on the super combined from that shock rifle. Multiple members from FaZe Clan are going to be weak, but they get the job done. They break the Spacestation setup, and they do it before they can rotate the ball to blue, and that means they're able to acquire this ball in long haul. It'll be interesting to see how FaZe want to play this one.
Something that Onse was saying on the desk about Snipe down, reinventing himself, changing his playstyle. Does he become that leader that this FaZe roster needs? Does he become more of an objective-focused player, for example? Someone's going to be stepping up and filling those roles, that's for sure. You've got 4 players who are amazing slayers, amazing individually, but you've got to get the dirty work done at the end of the day.
I think everybody's going to have to take bits and pieces of their gameplay and give to the others for everyone to have success here on the FaZe roster. I love this play by Falcated. He's able to grapple that camouflage to himself. And now with the second camo of the game, FaZe may be able to find a power curve here. Falcated's going to use this to clear out glass. Going to then push into long haul. He's got multiple members to deal with, so hopefully somebody on FaZe can get here, but he loses 2 teammates. So Falcated, he's got to do this all by himself. Finds the first on the back, smack the good shots on a KotH for a killing spree. Break the setup of Spacestation. 4 dead. Unfortunately, though, as you say that, Dan, oh no, the ball resets. And although FaZe get the kills, the objective work maybe not quick enough for Falcated there.
So unfortunate. Could have been a lot more time for FaZe there. But sometimes timing does just get you like that, and now they're going to have to play their way through pipes once more to try and get a considerable amount of time. Spartan will move this ball just towards bottom middle, just in case he was to go down, maybe fearing that there was going to be some aggression meeting him at pipes. And suddenly there's just a rumble pit happening bottom middle. And Spartan will eventually fall, but 3 are dead for FaZe. What could have been so different if that ball didn't return, all 4 dead.
And not to harp on a bad play, but I mean, Spartan throwing the ball bottom middle there, I don't know if he had to do that, right? It felt like FaZe had numbers advantage, had more space on the map, and he threw it right to multiple members of Spacestation, or at least a position where multiple members of Spacestation would have been able to defend. And now look at this, it's manifested itself into a Spacestation elevator setup from there on out. They've been able to get a couple kills, more importantly, build a 20-point lead. And now that Tylenul's going to throw that one out, he's going to get a kill onto Falcated here and be such a nuisance back elevator.
One of the things we learned in the series earlier between SSG and Optic was that Spacestation were pretty good at breaking setups. Where they struggled was actually setting up themselves. But of course, you're going up against Optic Gaming. You're going up against arguably the most practiced team in the tournament. It's going to be a little bit easier for them to set up here on Recharge Oddball. And you can already see that with the 43 seconds they've been able to secure. But at the moment, Spartan and the rest of FaZe, they are desperately trying to fight their way back into this game.
Tylenul picks up the 3rd camo of the game. FaZe not in a real position to compete for it. Do they know he has camo? Because right now, Sightdown's picking up that ball, and you're not going to get very far with it as multiple players dealing damage to him. The camo player still being a nuisance. Tylenul finds a nice kill onto Renegade, finds another distraction metal as Kuhlect picks up the kill onto Falcated. That's going to allow more time for Spacestation here.
Ball gets into pipes. And as long as you can just stay alive from this initial push from Snipe Down, then there could be a lot of time gathered. Ace will take the initial fight, and he will win that initial fight against Snipe Down. Suppressed has gone down, though. So FaZe, they're pushing and they're getting the kills, but they're not necessarily getting the all 4 deads. The one time they did, the ball returned. So it is a little bit of a frustrating experience for FaZe from what we can see so far.
We've seen a couple of point of views where Ace has won pivotal 1v1s that have awarded his team ball time. Although he is 8-8-8, he will take the ball time lead. He'll tweet it out later. Up 50 points now, and Spacestation in a prime position to take round 1.
Spartan zips in, and maybe just zips into the unknown. Was hoping maybe Falcated would be able to assist him a little bit quicker. They are able to get the trade at the very least, and they will stop the ball from being scored. They did have to get somewhat aggressive considering the time that's left on the clock and how close Spacestation are to winning this initial round.
Suppressed, just wants to deny ball time here as jumps up on the bat wedge. Good shots on the Renegade. Renegade, a player you think doesn't lose 1v1s. You think wrong. Suppressed, a very highly individually skilled player, able to get the advantage on Renegade, able to create a separation and additional time for FaZe Clan, and much needed time, Dan. 40 seconds is a lot of time, but when you look at the clock, 1:20 on the clock and starting to dwindle as that ball is neutralized. Every second ticks against FaZe from here.
So much expectation on this FaZe roster, but I think already we're starting to see that they may even be second best here to Spacestation right now. But there is still time to get back into things. FaZe just need a little bit more things to perhaps go their way and click, and if Renegade can get around that corner, that is job number 1 done. It's secure a little bit of ball time. It's force SSG into an uncomfortable position in this final minute.
So Renegade turns the corner. Unlike Renegade, Tylenul does not. Spartan picks up a massive double there to allow a little bit of time to go into FaZe Clan's favor. Unfortunately, the ball does get neutralized for a moment as Ace, with the shock rifle in hand, starts to apply pressure. The FaZe Clan setup is broken. A phenomenal job by the SSG boys to get those kills, to get the ball back in hand, to continue this lead. And now with 15 points to go, Dan, SSG look to take the game lead here, or the round lead, I'm sorry, in game 1.
And again, it's just another really successful break from SSG. 37 seconds left in this round for FaZe, and FaZe need to be finding exactly the same kind of effect with their breaks. And unfortunately, they've just not been able to do so. Snipedown has been able to pinch the ball away, though.
Yep.
And it does seem like FaZe are trying to focus this objective a little bit more. They're trying to go for some scrappy time.
A much better second half of round 1 so far for FaZe, if I have to say. They got to stop this push. They have to find some success here in the late game, and unfortunately, Tylenul is too quick. It's up to Renegade. He's good. Can he be great in this moment? moment. He takes down Tylenul, he takes down Ace, and if you're asking if Renegade can step up and be great, Renegade can do that. He can give you some life, and the last player alive for SSG now is KotH, and if they take him down, which they just did, they have a chance.
But we say all these FaZe players can step up, can pop off, and Renegade is the leading front of that charge, and now there is an opportunity for FaZe to still win this round, despite being behind. But Suppress gets the opener. Renegade has to get one, but does not, and now it's a 2 versus 4. That ball is going to have to be played, and FaZe are still behind.
They're going to have to throw the ball off the map. It's a matter of where do FaZe spawn, and are they in a position to defend it? Falcated still distracting Ace here. Back Blue is going to get stuck. A phenomenal job by Ace to not only get that kill, but to relocate. Fortunately for FaZe fans, he's shut down, but with 2 seconds, 1 second on the clock, nobody there to get the touch for FaZe. And Spacestation do just enough to win round 1, but you saw promises towards the end that gave you hope for FaZe.
There is hope, but right at the end there, surely you just have to kind of jump on the ball.
Somebody's got to get there.
Maybe Snipedown had been given word that someone else was going for it. So you think of the overarching picture, you think of the bigger picture and say, okay, well, if my teammate gets the ball, I have to secure this kill in pipes.
Yeah.
But regardless, SSG will take the first round. And even though they had a lot of control, it ended up being a lot closer, which is good news for FaZe, because FaZe looked down and out in the early stages, but it did seem like they wrestled things back in the latter half.
Absolutely, FaZe showing you probably their best moments so far on stream in that second half of round 1. Can they keep it up? It's going to be tough with Tylenul, who delayed the activation for camo, and because of it, he's had this extended camo now that he's taken his time to get the sword. He's been rewarded 2 kills. Focus onto a third player. Can't quite finish Snipe down there, but the pressure it's going to be on, and we see a Ninja in the kill feed. Jesus. Not quite sure what just happened to Suppress, but maybe we don't need to know.
Tylenul's still alive, though. Well, he was. And that sword did do a lot of damage early on here. Ball will be scarping away to pipes, and again, FaZe are looking to try to pick up some scrappy time, and they have been able to find 2 kills, so now they just need to be getting one of these secure setups. We've not seen FaZe have a solid setup so far in this game.
And people were asking the question, can Snipedown be versatile? Can he change his play style? 48 seconds and counting for Snipedown just alone here in game 1. Round 1, he tried his best to be that objective player for FaZe. This time around, 21 points is the difference early for FaZe and their advantage, and it's because Snipedown has prioritized that oddball, and I love this rotation by him as well.
You need to set your team up for success, and Snipedown, he's had so many players historically that have done that for him, and sometimes it's just changing of the guard. Maybe he needs to be doing the same for some of these younger players.
Gotta be careful.
Who've got just as much talent as he once did back when he was their age. 42-0. Snipedown still has control of the ball. Maybe we'll have to play it if there is more pressure. Knows there is pressure, and that's a good play. It is a solid lead here from FaZe.
Great play ball there. Under too much pressure to ask for any more time from Snipedown, and a great job to relocate, get a kill on the KotH, take the shock rifle out of his hand. And Dan, you're saying something about Snipedown's age. I have a feeling he's going to do something to show you he's still got that potential. He's still got that skill in him.
Oh, he's definitely still got it. I've watched him across multiple games, and he still is destroying people as if he was still 18 back in the day. But that's a nice stick to at least make this a 2 versus 2. Ball is going to be down bottom middle, and Snipedown says, well, you know what? I guess there's some more scrappy time I can gather, even though I'm in a 1 versus 2. And that's perhaps something FaZe have been lacking leading up to this point. No one has really been taking that initiative to go for those scrappy objective points, and they really do help out in Oddball.
Yeah, I actually love that play by Snipedown. Even if he gets taken down there, just good, efficient, objective work. Like you're saying, he was the last guy alive. He's still racking up time. 85 points to his individual name, 55 for FaZe here in round 2. Tylenul starting to hit some shots, though, to change that storyline immediately, and that's a beautiful double kill from him.
Could have so easily been more as well, but Tylenul was patient. He didn't get overzealous, he didn't get overconfident, but he is still hitting the shots. As Spartan is the next to lose his face, and now maybe this can be what SSG needed in this round. Just a little bit of kills going their way. It's another perfect. It's a killing spree. Eventually gets shut down, but the damage maybe is done. But SSG just need to get their hands on the ball here. FaZe have done very well to keep them off it.
Yeah, for everything we just watched from Tylenul, still 0 seconds to SSG's name so far here in round 2. You see Ace try to get that ball, but he can't get there in time. It resets, and it's going to go back to battery. So all of that work done by Tylenul is irrelevant Those are the kind of kills you need to transition into points. SSG leaving some points on the board could give FaZe an opportunity here.
They can be the difference makers. Look at last round when Falcated got that double kill with the camouflage and then the ball got reset.
Yep.
Timing is everything. And unfortunately, maybe SSG are going to fall victim to it this time. 150 left on the clock. A camouflage to work with for Spacestation, though. And Ace has got a lot of responsibility. He either needs to create a lot of room and get a kill, or he needs to toss this ball one way or another. But he is going to go for the first half of what I said. And now he just needs the assist from Tylenul as well. This should work out in a double, but no! Snipe Down takes him down.
Big kill from Snipe Down. Who else other than the man? Eric Rona making plays so far. 20 kills, the most ball time by far, but still SSG able to get those kills into pipes, able to get that ball into pipes. And with this, starting to award themselves the first couple of points here in round 2 for SSG. It's a long way to go, though. You built yourself such a deficit here. You can almost guarantee a round 3, and a great job by FaZe to get that push to deny any significant time going into SSG's favor.
We are starting to see better pushes now from FaZe. They are pushing his 2s. They are kind of working in tandem a little bit better. As I say that, Renegade does go down. Falcated was the last remaining player temporarily. And slowly but surely, SSG are crawling back into this round. FaZe need to be careful. They don't allow too heavy of a hold here for the Space Station team.
Yeah, it's important that this push is an efficient one, is an effective one from the side of FaZe. You need to figure out a way to get a couple of kills. You're not necessarily worried about the ball carrier here and now, but Falcated, he gets caught off guard. Perfect shots from Suppressed. Allow a numbers advantage for Spacestation, but more importantly, a rotation of the ball into blue, Dan, and now they're going to be in a prime position to play that ball once they feel the pressure is too much, but gain some significant time in the meantime as well.
Good nade, Renegade goes down, and the ball is still on, and that's important. Eventually it does get played, but that was some extra time that was gathered by SSG just because of Tylenul having that awareness, giving that communication, and of course getting that back smack. But now only 44 seconds for them to get their hands on this ball once more.
Yeah, this clock starting to become a factor, although it's just an 18-point lead for FaZe. They may be able to do just enough to keep that ball neutralized. It's so difficult to get it out of that battery's location. Snipe Down, Renegade, Snipe Down. They all get a couple of kills. As Snipe Down with a big double, Spartan finds himself the ball. Gonna extend the lead for FaZe even farther. Actually, I love this play by Spartan. He's gonna get that ball into pipes towards his team, but he's gonna keep it neutralized and play the clock.
Play the clock. You've got a 20-point lead pretty much, and you just need to hold on to it for 10 more seconds. Falcated has got camo as well, just to rub salt in the wounds of SSG, and now Tylenul is the last remaining player. Has 5 seconds left, will get taken down, and FaZe will take round number 2 here, and that was probably a triple for Falcated, but it doesn't matter because the round's over.
A massive play from Falcated, and that was really the first camo we've seen from FaZe. If they can do a better job of securing some of those camos, we already see they can turn into positive results.
A far better round 2, and it does all stem from Snipe Down picking up that objective, and not only is he doing the objective, he's got 24 kills as well.
He's doing everything.
About changing roles? Well, how about doing every role?
Yeah,
that's
that'll
what
help.
you need sometimes from your experienced players. It's just pulling your weight and doing as much as you can.
I mean, I watched him do it in Halo 3 so often where he would just take over games. Snipe Down taking over a game here and now, and rightfully so. FaZe right back into this one, but it's a hot start in round 3 for Kuhlect and Space Station Gaming. Shock rifle and camo in the hands, a little bit of information as he chooses a little bit of trigger discipline up until he can't connect with the head of Spartan. That would have been a nice pick to delay maybe a significant push, but look at this information. And unfortunately, once again, just a narrow miss of the head from Kuhlect. As he does get an assist in the kill feed, they are able to extend their numbers advantage here to a 3v2. They're able to push out the last player, that's Elevator. Falcated goes down, the rotation comes through for the ball, and they're gonna have another opportunity at an Elevator setup here.
Oh, big kills from Kuhlect. And even though he wasn't able to connect with the head initially on the previous set of slays, at least he's doing it now and hitting some big shots to give a fantastic lead here for SSG in round number 3, already by 35 points. And if Kuhlect manages to find another headshot, that will be maybe 10, 15 more seconds. There's going to be Renegade pushing it.
Big kill by Renegade. That's the entry pick you need from him. He's an entry fragger for a reason. We saw him have so much success with Cloud9 with that role, but he's got more work to do. Great job by Sparty to follow up. Sparty with Sword now needs to stay alive here. Has to buy some time for the rest of the boys to show up. It's Falcated on his way. He does get a kill on the Kuhlect. He's buying as much time as possible. And look at that. Because he buys time, he allows Falcated to get the jump onto Ace. And Falcated's going to find a double. Thank you, Spartan, for doing your job. Now FaZe starting to find some rhythm.
And now he just baits himself. Here, has the ball player. Snipe Down has the sword. waiting in the wings to slice anyone who may arrive. Camo's going to be popping up though, so this is going to be a big moment for both of these sides. Who's going to be able to prioritize it? It looks like SSG are going to be in a better position to get it. Kuhlect has been able to pop that into his chest. So now FaZe are going to have to try and hold a setup with a player down and Camouflage being on the other side.
Want to hop in board with the FaZe Astro Gaming listen in as they try to hold this oddball setup, but more importantly, try to crawl back into this game one and potentially take the lead on SSG.
Yeah, he's got sword. He has one sword left, I think, or two. I don't know.
One's red shooting
He's
you
up
guys
there
in the
for
back.
sure.
Top red's one shot. Top red, one shot, guys, on the DMR.
Bottom middle. Watch out, bottom BR. Watch out, bottom BR. Tylenul.
I hear that. I'm looking.
Whenever we got him.
He's front to orange door. Front to orange door.
He's dead.
Sword on me, guys. Yes, sword ball weak.
Turbine, top A, hell. Heaven and hell, heaven and hell.
I got one.
Nice.
Another guy top A.
Top red, watch it cross.
Yeah, another guy top A, John.
I'm here, John.
One shot. Nice. Another guy top A.
Is that top A? Yeah, I got him.
Stacks. Last two stacks. Last two are stacks.
Good.
Yep, I hear that. I hear that. All right, I'm on bat ledge.
I'm watching my bottom.
BR, the BR. 100% BR.
Top A cross. I'm gonna bring ball over to red. I'm bringing ball to red right now. You gotta go help him, Ty.
One shot grapple. Suppress one shot grapple. He's still there. Still one shot grapple.
I got him.
Bottom AMA, dude. Bottom AMA.
Two dead.
Bottom tower is killing me.
Yep.
I got one.
Nice.
I got ball. I got ball.
He went back to A. They're looking for Mike.
Go help Mikey. John's going to help Mikey.
Got him. No, bottom tower.
I hear your bottom tower.
Bottom tower still.
He's coming. Yo, the glass.
Needle's weak. He's
One is
turbine weak. Two
glass,
shots.
Listen, top red.
Okay,
Top
I'm
red.
running.
Yeah, he's weak on me.
I hear that.
Watch out top A. Watch out top A. Aaron.
He's still on me.
Bottom A.
Camo, one shot, Tylenul.
Nice, shit.
Weak orange door.
Turbine.
Watch out.
Two dead.
Get ball.
Was that the guy red?
They have camo, bottom BR somewhere. Tylenul. I'm dying to grapple.
Group up here, so then I spawn C5.
Grapple. Guys, I'm going heaven.
Yeah, we're both gonna die.
Camo's neither. Make it.
I got it out.
Camo's in turbine.
I got it to BR. I got it to C.
Three turbine. One is camo.
Well, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't easy. It was a little chaotic, but FaZe getting the job done here in round 3. Dan, what'd you hear?
I mean, the fact that they're playing with that much confidence and the individual ability that we're seeing, and even though the communication is a little bit edgy, it's a little bit all over the place, you can hear the game plan is there. They at least are all kind of communicating in a way where they have an idea of what they want to do. They're just not able to implement it maybe as well as they would if they had been a team a little bit longer. But certainly there are signs of this could be a fantastic team once they start to realize really how to play with one another, once they start to realize who fits where in this squad.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you're talking about individual plays. So often did we see Falcated hitting some shock rifle shots, Renegade hitting some nice entry frags into elevator, and it's allowed FaZe to build this 20-point lead now, but they need to be careful. Everybody on SSG around that 30 kill mark, which tells you they're all playing fairly well. They are very capable of still winning this round. And with 1:45 on the clock, not too much time to really worry about. It is going to go in favor of whatever team can probably get to that 100-point mark with the oddball. And as I say that, FaZe get a couple of kills, Dan, and this is going to be another opportunity for a setup, which could be the game-ending one.
Well, especially with Spartan in this position with the shock rifle as well. Spartan hasn't been feeling particularly confident in this roster so far, but he is always confident with this weapon in his hands. He manages to give so much information to the team, and now he's going to be challenged 1v1 versus Tylenul here. Unfortunately, turns his back at the wrong time, but it maybe doesn't matter. 93 points are already on the board here for FaZe, and now this ball is going to be bottom middle. It's very vulnerable. 1:30 left on the clock. Everything is pointing towards a FaZe victory right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just 7 points is all you need. You don't want to rush it. You want to make sure you're getting the kills, but unfortunately, they're not in a great position to get those kills as Renegade gonna try and desperate that oddball. Does get a touch, but only collects 1 second as he does that, gets his life for it as well. Snipe down, does not burn that camo actually, does not get it punched into his chest, and therefore that camo is gonna be down. Let's see if FaZe can acquire it though. That would be a massive chance to acquire the power-up and potentially break the Space Station gaming setup in blue.
Also, how are the nerves as well when you are this close to winning the game, but you also recognize you don't have the ball? Well, those are some big kills coming out from Renegade, and he's looking to get aggressive because Ace is the last remaining player. Will play that ball, does have the sword though, for the lunge.
No!
Renegade manages to get the ball true, and how important could that ball true be? That is going to be a chance now for them to pick up the ball and potentially win this game. One more second needed, but Suppressed will at least stop it for now. But there is Spartan getting the final seconds on the board, and even though FaZe looked a little bit shaky to begin with, they will secure map number 1.
It wasn't pretty, it wasn't easy, but they get the job done on the back of Renegade, dropping 38 kills, and I think overall the FaZe roster, they went negative in that game. But you're not really too worried about the stats. You're more importantly just trying to win this best of 5, and you've done step 1 in that. You've won game 1. And after losing round 1 to SSG, you thought momentum was going to go in SSG's favor. They looked very, very strong in that round 1, but it really was a great showing from FaZe on the comeback in round 2 and in round 3 in order to get the job done.
I think it does speak volumes of how good this region is when this is a match for top 8.
Yeah.
And some of the individual ability I'm witnessing on my screen is incredible on both sides, not just FaZe, but Space Station as well. And it is going to be sad that one of these teams will not be guaranteed a pool play spot in Orlando, but I think you can bet your bottom dollar that this is going to be one of the sides smashing through open once Orlando does come around. That being said, 239 to 199, it wasn't exactly an easy game for FaZe. They made it difficult for themselves. But when you talk about roles in these teams, Wes, and you talk about who is where, who's fitting where, Spartan maybe not the stats we're used to seeing, but he does have 20 assists, and I'm interested to see what his damage was like.
20 assists is good. 20 assists from Ace as well on the other side for SSG. That's very, very good as far as helping your team acquire very important kills. And the most important stat for me is usually damage. I would say in this one it's got to be oddball time, but as we take a look at the damage, it's Suppressed and Tylenul on their side. SSG actually out damaging FaZe pretty heavily looking at those numbers, but when you talked about changing roles just a little bit, right? And Sniped-Down, what a huge influence he had throughout this game. Scrappy ball time was the name of the game. Sniped-Down continuously looking to play that objective. And that's not something I could always praise Sniped-Down for throughout his career. There's times where I'm like, you know, Sniped-Down's one of our less objective efficient players, at least back in my day when I competed against him. He was a little bit of a stack, it seemed. But that being said, one of the best to ever do it, one of the best main slayers I've ever seen in my life, and the fact that he has prioritized this ball, at least here in game 1, I mean, that just gave FaZe so much life, so much hope. I loved everything I saw from Sniped-Down in this game. No matter what his KD ratio was, I mean, look, 140 seconds of objective time, that's absolutely insane, and if nobody else is going to do it, Sniped-Down says, I will.
That's the thing in Halo Infinite. You have to make sure you are doing the work. You can't afford to be in a similar spot we were in previous iterations of Halo, where you had your objective player, you had your Slayer, you had your support. It's not as simple. Everyone has to pull their weight. And maybe something that FaZe was suffering for at the start of this tournament was no one was necessarily pulling their weight. Everyone was kind of playing their old style, how they would play with their old team. But you are a new team now. You have to find your own identity. And if FaZe can find that, I still believe they can make waves in this tournament. And I know it's early to say that considering this is a game for top 8, but the individual ability, some of the plays I was seeing Falcated make during that listening is not something you'd expect from a team that's finishing top 8, top 12.
Now, I think when you look at this FaZe roster and you look at all 4 players, these guys are playmakers. These guys have some of the best individual skill in the world. All 4 of these guys are absolutely insane Halo players. That's why we're scratching our heads so much when we watch them play and they're not having the success we kind of expect these 4 names to have. Beating Space Station's a big deal. Space Station has looked good throughout this weekend. We think Space Station can compete with all these 4 through 8 teams. The second FaZe win this series, they're alive. They are a live dog in this tournament, and I will never count them out with these names and these players on this squad. They just need a little bit of momentum, and maybe game 1 was that spark to the momentum they need.
Well, game 2 is going to be Catalyst Slayer, which is always going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons and is always going to offer something a little bit different. Throwing the cat amongst the pigeons.
Why would you throw cats?
Well,
pigeon.
you know, it is a famous expression where I'm from. Maybe not from where you're from, but we can focus on it later. I'm sure there's expressions that you say that I have no idea what you're talking about.
I think PETA would have something to say about you throwing cats in general, but especially at other live animals, Dan. But yeah, let's get back to the Halo action. Suppressed and the boys rebounding up game 1, and it seems like it's a successful rebound. I'm sorry, I'm misquoted there. It's actually FaZe that jump out to the 4-2 lead. I always think Spacestation should be the lower seed here, but FaZe starting off pretty solid. Unfortunately for Suppressed, he gets flanked, and multiple members of FaZe having a lot of success here atop the base.
Well, one thing we learned about Spacestation earlier was they had a very successful Slayer game against Optic Gaming. And if they can find even a small element of that success from earlier, there's no reason why they couldn't beat FaZe here in game number 2. Nice shots from KotH. Good pre-firing as well, just in case there was the re-challenge, and now he's got the support. This is where suddenly SSG get a little bit faster with their push. The game keeps slowing down and speeding up and slowing down again. It's very difficult to try and assess the pace here on Catalyst.
I like this play by Snipdown. He ran all the way back to the other flag with the skewer. He created so much space between him and the enemy team. They don't give up free lives trying to compete for the middle of the map. FaZe do a good job of getting out of a bad situation, minimizing the damage done, and now let's see what they can do now that they've repositioned.
30-40 seconds gone by and still no kills found. Both teams just posturing up at one another, trying to see if they can get that initial pick. Snipdown will have the skewer. That's an easy shot. Lines up so comfortably for him. He even took an extra split second there just to guarantee it. But all the meanwhile, Ace has managed to pick up the overshield. So what would you rather have, that first kill or the overshield? And Ace says, you know what? I want to try and take that skewer off you, but just about misses on the grapple.
Yeah, we saw Ace not have a ton of success in the last game with Sword, but a big kill on the Snipdown, soaks a lot of damage up with that overshield, but that's it. Renegade finds a double, takes down Ace as well, and that overshield maybe not creating the power curve you would have hoped. If you're a Spacestation gaming fan, they go 3 dead, and the rest of FaZe clan are able to reset the map.
I was really surprised on Friday when we looked at FaZe results and I saw how many Slayers they were losing, because this roster screams the best Slayer team that should exist.
Yeah.
Because they all used to be those main Slayers. They all used to make those clutch plays.
Doesn't work like that.
It doesn't, because there is far more to a Slayer than just getting kills. There's map control, there's rotations, there's pushes. But if FaZe can start working on those things and they do start to find that rhythm, they could become the scariest slaying team in this circuit.
Absolutely, they can become an absolute juggernaut force. We can have in the conversations of the Optics and the Cloud9s and the Sentinels conversation. You almost expect these names to be up there, especially when you're talking about Renegade. Spartan with the skewer on hand, maybe not statistically having the best performance so far throughout this tournament, but as soon as he finds his footing, you just have to think he's going to give this FaZe roster one leg up from where they've ever been.
Well, there was 2 skewers on the map, and it was Ace who was able to pick Snipdown apart there from behind. I think actually he got double kill as well, and it's a stick from Ace. Ace starting to really heat up now and show what he has and his experience, his history in Halo, and what he can do in this series. 16-16 though, 8 minutes left. This game has been so slow between these two teams. Overshield popping in 5.
Overshield's typically been dominated by Spacestation so far. With the last Overshield, maybe they didn't have a ton of success, but it's a grapple off, and Suppressed doesn't use his yet, and it allows the Overshield to get snatched through his line of sight from a FaZe clan member. It was Snipdown using his last grapple in order to get it. And even though Snipdown only gets 1 kill and it ends up being a trade, Snipdown removes Overshield from being a part of Spacestation's opportunity there, and that's enough to give me another win in the sake of Snipdown and the FaZe roster.
It's almost like he wasn't comfortable with the distance he had from the Overshield. He was trying to just edge his way forward. You've got to know the distances. They're very fine margins here in Halo Infinite in these top-level matches. The KotH will at least get the kill with the grenade. They do still find themselves only 2 kills behind as the no-scope rips apart Spartan. And now KotH, he's out of ammo, and maybe he's out of a life if he gets too aggressive here, but he is going to be more passive. He does retreat to try and join the rest of his team.
Going to be surrounded. I'm not sure he retreats fast enough, but he doubles back. Snipdown overextends to the bottom doorway, and a nice kill from KotH, one of the young superstars here in our HCS scene in Halo Infinite. Somebody that maybe a little bit less known than the Snipedowns, the Renegades in the world, but starting to make a name for himself. the first couple of tournaments here on SSG. He's found a home. He's looked good. He wants to create an upset here, and this would probably be the biggest win of his young career.
And there's certainly a very bright career ahead of him as well. And even though there's been some frustrating tournaments, sometimes you have to go through those hardships to make yourself a better player, a better person. Renegade should be taken down here by Kuhlect and Ace, but Spartan comes out of nowhere to get the smack, and Spartan gets a double kill. And it does mean that FaZe still hold on to the lead here. Again, it's a very nervy game. Only 3 kills between them. Sword in the hands of Falcated. Overshield is going to be up once more in 6 seconds. Can this Overshield make more of an impact? Because both so far have been negated quite quickly.
Falcated needs to be careful here. He's surrounded, and fortunately, he gets a couple of kills from his teammates that create a little bit of space, gives him a way out. He has a sword in his back pocket, but he can't quite have the time to pull it out. But good damage onto Ace. Sparty again able to trade and capitalize off his teammates' push. And this is something we need to see from FaZe that I'm loving that we're seeing it here in game 3. It's a triple kill from Renegade on top of it all to push FaZe to a 7-kill lead. They're starting to hit a groove that you know these guys are starting to feel themselves.
Perfect time to hit a groove as well around that 30-kill mark, so you can get closer towards that 50 and really start to create a gap so that your opponents begin to panic. They start to rush, they start to look for more kills, then you can capitalize on it because mistakes will be made when they do start to get to panic stations. But that being said, still is time, still 5 minutes on the clock, things slow down once more, but Renegade is in a position now where he can just wait, he can bide his time, and he needs to communicate that to the rest of the team and say, hey, I've got sword, I'm in a great spot, someone come and just be the bait for me. Someone come and dangle yourself on the edge of a rod, and I will finish things off.
Best part about it is he has grapple, so anyone that turns that corner either high or low, he will be able to make up the distance quickly to potentially give his team that entry frag we know Renegade loves to find. Nobody on Spacestation on his side of the map right now, and as you see this game completely stall as far as pace is concerned, Dan, you can feel the moment is felt between these two teams. They know how valuable this game 2 is either way, right? For FaZe to go up 2-0 in this series and a shot at pool play to be guaranteed in Orlando, or for Spacestation to stay in this series, you have to think they're not going to reverse sweep this FaZe roster.
You could cut the tension with a knife.
Or a sword.
Do you know that one? Or a cat, a pigeon.
Yeah, not a pigeon? Yeah. That's what I halfway expect you to say half the time.
32-26, and it is getting tense here. The Overshield is going to pop once more. And it does seem like both teams were just kind of accepting that was going to happen. Elsewhere, things starting to happen. Snipe Dome goes down. Renegade also gets a kill onto Tylenul. Overshield is grappled and everyone suddenly bursts to life here. FaZe, though, have got the Overshield. That's what's important. Spartan gets the first, and he has the Overshield to work with.
You don't want to give up free deaths to try and keep that player alive if you're a FaZe member, but this flank with the Overshield is perfect. Snipe down, Falcated in the feed as well. Spartan knows where the last player alive is. He's on this flag ramp. It's Kuhlect, and they're going to hunt him down, and like the FaZe roster can be. Phenomenal Slayers. They take all 4 members of SSG now, and now look at the presence on the map Spartan is creating. He's trying to push the pace, and with some perfect shots onto Ace, he does just that.
And they've got enough of a lead now where FaZe can be a little bit more reckless with their pushes. They can afford to just go in and get trades. 3 minutes remaining on the clock, so it shouldn't be a factor here. We should get to 50 for one of these squads, but 8 kills behind is not unachievable. We have seen comebacks like this on Catalyst Slayer. Skewer's about to pop. Collectors have the sword as well. There are tools for SSG, but it is not going to be easy, especially with grenades like that.
Kuhlect's forced to back up, forced to allow Suppressed to go down, and another death tallied from the SSG roster to make FaZe just 8 away from winning this one to gaining a 2-0 lead in the series. FaZe can feel the momentum in their gameplay. Renegade turns the corner. He gets sorted because the skewer doesn't come through. And right now, Kuhlect's got to find 3. He's found 2. Can he get the distance closed on the Snipe Down? The answer is no. Snipe Down with some great shots. Makes sure he minimizes the damage there. And although it was an efficient trade for FaZe, every single kill they get, they don't need to necessarily trade perfectly efficiently, right? They just need 6 more kills by the time 15 go in favor of Spacestation. But that's a beautiful double from Renegade and a better shot from Sparty. Falcated's going to help him out with 1 more. Now 48-35, 2 more for FaZe to go.
2 more, and it's going to be easy pickings at this point. Overshield's coming up. They can play this however they want. There is no way FaZe throw this one away. And considering they started game number 1 here in this series looking like the kind of inferior team, they looked second best to SSG. It seems like they've woken up now as the 49th gets secured.
Yeah, this is the potential we know that FaZe has in them, right? It's not often that we've seen it so far, but this team is so young or so new in its infancy, right? That it's only a matter of time for these guys to figure it out. These superstars to collide, to clash, to form together to be one of the best Halo teams we have here on the circuit. As they find the 50th kill, you have to think that groove is starting to be felt. And FaZe fans everywhere are starting to dance a little bit, starting to move their hips, because they know this elimination bracket run, they could be in store for a long Sunday if they keep this one up.
You might say that this team is young and hungry. I know there's some older players on this roster, but as a team, you're right. They are still new. It's fresh blood. It's a fresh opportunity to show what you are made of. And it had to start here. We said this right before the series started. They could not afford to falter. It has to be a victory against SSG. And that was a far better game too. In what could have been a banana skin, a Catalyst Slayer, where it was very back and forth, very standoff. Neither team really able to take the initiative in the early stages. A couple of hesitant moments around the overshield, but it was FaZe who got the better of those moments time and time again.
And one thing I want to call out, one specific moment that sticks out to me was early in the game, FaZe lose a couple of members on one side of the base towards the hallway. Snipe down, misses the skewer shot, immediately backs out of the fight, realizing that, hey, I've lost 2 teammates. He runs all the way back to the opposite flag and resets the map completely for FaZe. That's a veteran play to be able to say, hey, I'm not trying to hold my ground. I'm not trying to fight for the middle of the map right now. There's nothing for me to fight for. If I try to stand my ground, the best I'm going to do is trade here. So what does he do? He backs all the way up. He forces Spacestation Gaming into a little bit of a trap, and they're able to have so much success early on. And those are the kind of things you think when you see them, Dan, that the communication for FaZe is starting to make sense, starting to click, and everybody's starting to get on the same page. And when things like that happen, that's when this roster is going to start to shine.
On the other side for Spacestation, they are now 1 game away from being out of this tournament, not getting that guaranteed spot in pool play in Orlando.
It's tough.
And considering they came through second in their pool, that would be a surprise, but at the same time, that's what pool play can do sometimes. FaZe came 3rd in their group, SSG comes 2nd in theirs, and things can change once it gets into bracket play, once you get into these do or die moments in the elimination bracket. And you saw the stats previously. Renegade was leading the charge, 4.2k damage. And with the individual ability that this FaZe roster offers, you'd have to imagine that surely with a 2-0 lead in a best of 5, they shouldn't throw this one away. But we have seen reverse sweeps happen far too many times in this tournament already. Strongholds live fire is where we go for map number 3. Any initial thoughts from you, KotH?
Yeah, I'm not going to call the reverse sweep, but I do just feel for Spacestation players, man. It's like their team has been through such a rough year so far, and to try to qualify for pools, you thought that this was going to be the roster, because this roster just does have so much talent that you think that they're going to be in this inside the top 8 come Orlando, come Worlds. And where do they land inside that top 8? I mean, they have the talent to just about place anywhere, but just so often it feels like they get that bad bracket situation where they run into a FaZe in elimination round 3 here today. And unfortunately, that's just how the cards play out. And eventually, you got to create an upset. And they haven't done enough to create that upset here today. And for them to do it here and now, to reverse sweep a FaZe roster stacked of this kind of talent, it's just almost too much of a mountain for me to even fathom. And right now, I'm loving what I'm seeing from FaZe. They're starting to build momentum, 50-38, and more importantly, the decision-making, the teamwork, the actual strategy, everything's starting to come together. Snipe down with 140 seconds of ball time. Like, you're starting to see the gives, the takes, the mesh, that what it's going to need to be for this FaZe roster to have success. And that's a scary thought, because everybody else is watching this series like, we want FaZe out of this tournament now, right? Like, we want them gone, because they know exactly who those 4 players are as individuals. They know that if these guys do start to gel, we have another Optic Gaming, another Cloud9 Sentinels on our hands. We have another stacked roster here in the HCS, and that's something that the rest of the top teams don't want.
Because, of course, in a parallel universe, it would be Oxygen Esports they're facing, right? Because Oxygen were the team that beat FaZe. They got that Slayer victory over them. They're the ones who go through second. And that sounds like a more winnable game for Spacestation to get into top 8 and to get to pool play. No disrespect
but yes,
to Oxygen, because Oxygen have had an amazing tournament, and they certainly really impressed us with how they performed in pool play to take down a team like FaZe. But I think you're right. FaZe have got better and better as the tournament goes on. Oxygen caught FaZe when they were cold, when they weren't necessarily used to how they play. The players weren't even sure what role they were meant to be doing. But now FaZe are starting to realize how to play the game as a 4. And SSG maybe have just run into them at the wrong time here in Elimination Bracket Round 3 for top 8 for that place at Orlando. FaZe need one more game and they're guaranteed top 8. They're guaranteed Orlando pools. As for SSG, we need a reverse sweep. It has to start now.
Has to start now, and FaZe, you know, they want to put a punctuation on what they would define as their turnaround as a team here with this series. They start off pretty hot here, finding the first 2 kills. It's Falcated, it's Sparty on the map already in the battle for Snipe Down. What do you know? It's won by Snipe Down as he's able to pick up that S7, get back to tower, and do what Snipe Down does best, and that is anchor with this S7.
And FaZe should be good at Strongholds. The amount of experience they've got, the amount of knowledge they've got from all these different teams as well, plus this slaying ability, it should be perfect in a Strongholds environment. It's Snipe Down is just ripping through this entire SSG roster right now, and he was literally playing King of the Tower, but eventually does get shut down. But still,
Tower of Power.
PNC. The Tower of Power, King of Power, Cat Amongst the Pigeons, whatever you use, there is always a way you can go.
Enough is enough. The broadcast team has to stop this madness of slogans coming over from the EU scene. But speaking of things that need to be stopped, it's that momentum that FaZe has built throughout this series so far, and Spacestation Gaming doesn't have an answer. It's a killing spree for Spartan. He's been fairly quiet, like we've said several times, but it only takes one game for this guy to get loud, and when he starts to feel himself, he's one of the best slayers in the world.
I could have said Snipe Down was at the top of the apples and pears. Would you have got that one?
No.
No, it means top of the stairs. But
Yeah,
we can throw more in just to confuse you more, KotH, because I do enjoy doing that.
I miss
but
Jersey.
All 4, so do I. All 4 players are up on both teams. Overshield's going to be spawning in 18 seconds, but all the meanwhile, 70 points on the board here for the FaZe roster. Here comes the push, though, from SSG. They managed to get 2 down. This could be the breaking moment for them.
This needs to be the breaking moment. It's already a 70-point lead for FaZe, and it's gonna get uglier if you don't find a way to get kills. They are able to get a few kills. They are able to transfer over B, but you want to see more from Spacestation. You want to see them push the trip cap, be aggressive, and unfortunately, Suppress is opting to kind of sit back. They are gonna have to either rotate to C or defend A, because right now, FaZe have spawned over towards the scoreboard, and they have hopped into A already.
The last thing you want is to go out of a tournament due to a 3-0, like not even to put up a fight, not even to get a map in the elimination bracket game that you end up losing. So we need to see SSG wake up, and they have to start with these rotations by prioritizing the right strongholds and not allowing FaZe to just run rampant with their slays.
I love how Falcated's been able to play this situation right here. He doesn't take too much damage as he peeks up for information from Elbow. He wisely backs down, relocates, and now he's got a flank. But in the meantime, what I mean by this is like he's been able to keep his shield relatively healthy the entire time. If he ever was to get weak, that was going to be the opportunity for Spacestation to try and look to push him. But because of that, he is now just being an absolute nuisance to the Spacestation Gaming members. He does everything he can. Unfortunately, Ace does get the better of him there. And that's a big kill by Ace to remove Falcated off the map. One of the best players for this FaZe roster, I would say. But you have more work to do. You need to find a way to hold this trip cap. They're able to push the trip cap momentarily. That reset onto A does come through, but I love this by the rest of Spacestation. They're here to try and transfer over A for sure. They do lose B in the meantime, however.
This is what Spacestation needed, though. They needed a sniper rifle in the hands of KOLHECT. They needed someone to start popping off so they can give them that confidence again, and also try and dwindle away at that confidence on the side of FaZe, because being 2-0 up, if FaZe can start running around the map, treating it as a matchmaking game, that's when they're going to be at their best. But KOLHECT, the double, quick-fire double as well, and he wants more, and oh my goodness, if he had connected with that, I would have lost my mind.
2 big shots from KOLHECT give Spacestation some life, but I mean, in the meantime, Dan, even with those kills, A and B in the hold of FaZe, in control of FaZe, and they're continuing to build on their lead. It's up over 60 just about. As Overshield is going to come up, Snipe Down does get taken down. Can't hit the shot onto Renegade, and only Suppressed is alive to try and compete for this Overshield. Renegade takes him down with a little bit of help from Spartan, and that's Overshield once again in the hands of FaZe.
And Renegade just paused there on the Overshield platform as well, almost inviting some shots, some pressure, so we could get that information as where the players were going to be. Now he's spotted middle. These grenades are going to do so much damage, but in the end, they do damage to himself. Does get the stick, but in the end, it was a little bit of a suicide.
A stick, a melee onto a second. And a ton of information from Renegade there with that overshield. He's able to apply some pressure, to deny some pressure potentially from Spacestation. And as they desperately try to transfer over C, they need to act quickly in order to get 2 of these strongholds in their favor, because it doesn't feel like their slays are in that bad of a differential right now, damn, but their ability to transfer 2 of these strongholds is what's lacking right now from SSG.
That's exactly what we saw against Optic. Like, we saw SSG have the kills, we saw them have the slays against Optic, but couldn't get the objective work done. And perhaps that is just one of their main problems at the moment, is they're good enough individually, but when it comes to actually playing the map in the right way, rotating accordingly, and also pushing in the right areas, they just aren't quite there. But they are so close, and it just seems when they go up against some of these, you know, big teams with experience, they just seem to kind of fall on that final hurdle.
Yeah, KotH isn't going to cut it here in the objectives in Halo. And unfortunately for SSG, they got to get this B stronghold taken over. It's taking KotH a little bit of time, but he is able to transfer it over eventually. Now down over 110 points. Trying to crawl back. It's not going to be done in a second. You got to find a way to stagger some slays on the side of FaZe Clan right now. And FaZe, they slow it down. They understand with this significant of a lead, we want to play for this overshield, and then we want to look to push.
2 kills go in favor of FaZe. A third could very quickly do so as well, but thanks to the heat wave, Spartan will eventually fall, but the damage perhaps already done. 3 members have gone down from SSG. It's going to be another overshield for FaZe. B gets overturned, and Snipe Down, having that overshield, is now going to be able to have a lot of fun here on the open side.
Santa's got 3 players in front of him, knocks 2 to no shield. Is anybody else here from FaZe to help out? It's 4 members from Spacestation to take down Snipe Down, but it needed all 4 members in order to do so. And even though they take down that overshield player in Snipe Down, it's still FaZe continuing to score. So Spacestation need to spread out, divide the numbers a little bit further in order to hold 2 of these strongholds. They're struggling so heavily in that regards. 179 and counting. They don't have too much time in order to do so, Dan.
What FaZe are doing very well is flipping A and C at the moment, and then forcing SSG over towards B, but then holding B for a very long time, either actually holding it successfully or doing so much damage that off spawn they can then do this. They can like kind of grenade those at green, they can pressure those at green to the point where they can either retake B off them or just maneuver their way through to C and catch them off guard.
Okay, so here's the SSG hold. It's a CB hold right now. You're seeing multiple members of FaZe going bottom middle. Tylenul finds out some information. Spart's body by the middle. Sparty's going to try and be aggressive, but gets punished. Suppressed on the flank, finds 2. Kuhlect finds the 3rd in the kill feed. All 4 dead for FaZe right now. And this is the moment Spacestation decide, is this going to go to a game 4? Or are we looking at a 3-0 for FaZe in this series? They're going to keep the CB hold, not look to push the trip cap, but they should know exactly where FaZe are going to respawn.
And where do FaZe go? Do they go big door? Do they go bottom middle and send it through pillars? Either way, you are vulnerable to grenades. There is a doorway you have to go through, so they can be backed off. Suppress gets the opener with the sniper rifle onto Snipe Down as well, so now things have just got very difficult once again for FaZe. It looks like they're going to have to wait for the overshield now, but of course, Suppressed can just watch over from tower here.
He's going to try to, but he's going to be suppressed by Renegade top middle. He hits a body on the Renegade, no more S7, and Snipe Down. He pops up, grabs the overshield, pops back down, and we saw last time Snipe Down got melted. This time around, the teamwork from Spacestation just as strong. They take Snipe Down with that overshield. They continue their setup. And not only that, Dan, they look to push the trip cap, and Ace with a big kill on the Falcated. Continuing numbers in their advantage, strongholds in their advantage. They do a nice flip of the A and C strongholds. They look to push C, and if they can get a couple more kills, a trip cap would be everything for this SSG roster.
FaZe struggled earlier on in this tournament against Cloud9 when they were behind in a Strongholds game. They looked all right when they were ahead, but it's when they're behind, it's when they have to break these setups that it does seem like they struggle a little bit. SSG need to keep taking advantage of this. Keep up the pressure, keep pushing these spawns, keep FaZe second-guessing themselves here, because then you'll keep scoring and then you'll start to take the lead, and that's the beginning of a potential reverse sweep.
It's almost 100 unanswered points on the side of SSG. They're looking to take the lead with just 10 more to their name. A massive 1v1 from Renegade and Kuhlect, and Renegade, he's on the back end of it. Fortunately, it is cleaned up, but Sparty, the last player alive for FaZe right now. Ace is by himself over towards C, looking to be aggressive. And look at this, all of FaZe starting to retreat over towards A. They're going to flip the map once again.
What a period of play this has been for Spacestation. Again, they're getting aggressive. Again, they are trying to force the hand of FaZe, and it's going to be a double kill here for Ace. He wants more as well. He knows there's a player in the near vicinity, but it doesn't matter because Tylenul finishes him off. 3 dead. They've got all 3 Strongholds as well, and suddenly they're on 220 points, and suddenly this comeback is very much apparent. FaZe are falling to pieces.
Falling to pieces, can't get off their spawns. The pressure's too much from SSG, but as I say that, they lose 2, and this is a moment that gets dangerous. Sparty hops into B, 4 dead for Spacestation. B and C in the control of FaZe, and now this comeback could all be for nothing if Spacestation can't answer quickly, and Renegade setting up for this overshield could be the most dangerous piece to the puzzle.
Oh, that's a risky play. He goes for it. He throws away the sniper rifle. Did he provide enough room? Yes, he did. Falcated gets the overshield. Suppressed is the last remaining player. He's going to go over towards C, and if he gives his position away, Falcated will very quickly.
Wait.
Surely, you don't get back smacked here, and thank goodness he didn't. Otherwise, that could have been it for FaZe, but they keep alive. They have a trip cap, and now it is SSG who are on the back foot.
No way he hits this. No way he hits this. Falcated gives up position and gives up C Stronghold in doing so. Then the trip cap no longer in effect. FaZe are able to continue scoring, but A is being transferred as well. So in a moment, it's going to be SSG starting to score at 230 and climbing both teams over 230 now. This team, this game will go in the hand of the next few slays. Right now, multiple players from Spacestation out towards B. Falcated needs to find a way to apply some pressure, but in the meantime, A is the focus for FaZe. They're able to trip it over, and now they're looking at a trip cap. If they can find Tylenul back here, Falcated does it. He does it. He transfers over B as well, and now Spacestation have one last life to say anything about their elimination bracket run.
That sniper rifle shot could have been everything from Falcated. They need 10 more points, and they're through to top 8. They guarantee pool player Orlando. A is being contested. Suppressed is over towards tower. You've got to get your kills. He goes off the map, though. One remaining player. And he gets taken down. And FaZe will get top 8. They will be in pool player Orlando. But unfortunately, it means the end of SSG.
Falcated with the 4 onto Tylenul to end the game in this series, to continue FaZe's elimination bracket run. And that's everything you need from FaZe to show you, to give you hope going into Sunday, to give you hope for the rest of this tournament that they will find a way to mesh with this roster, because these guys are so talented. You see the 4 shots from Falcated at the end. You see the run Falcated made at the end, but it was plays across the board from FaZe all series long that gave them situational advantages, score advantages at times. And they needed every single one of those plays to get over Spacestation. And this is no pushover Spacestation roster. This is a different Spacestation team as well. It's unfortunate that their story run ends here, but it had to be FaZe. FaZe had to advance. We know these guys too often. We know what they're capable of, and it was a great story for them to continue this.
As a fan of Halo, you want to see names like Renegade, like Snipe Down go forward. But as a fan of, you know, the underdog and what SSG have been able to do throughout their history as a team and some of the hardships they've gone through, you also want them to be the team to progress. It was such a difficult one for the neutrals. So much damage done by Tylenul there, by the way. 5.9k damage, but not enough. Even with an incredible comeback at the end from Spacestation, they just couldn't quite get it done in those last moments. It does mean that FaZe get top 8. It does mean we won't get to see those games like SSG versus G2, like SSG versus Pioneers, those games we were talking about where we think SSG might have been able to really disrupt things, but it also says a lot about kind of 4th through to top 12 maybe, how close all these teams are, which is why it is so difficult to be that close on getting Orlando pulls, but just having it ripped away from you at the last moment.
I think I speak for the entire Halo community. Well, maybe not the entire. I know that there's some SSG fans out there, but if we lose SSG versus G2, but we gain the potential to watch FaZe continue to grow as a roster,